Throughout winter, you don't realize just how much the season affects you. And even though there's lots of things to do outside, for some reason, staying inside always seems more intuitive. Now that spring is here and things are warming up, I've been letting myself wander a bit more. New York City is made up of so many different neighborhoods with so much character. It'd be a shame to not get to experience them on a daily basis. So, I've taken to exploring different neighborhoods in the city, and my idea of exploration typically involves visiting a plant shop, a coffee shop, and a bookstore. This is my new series called Soft Walks in the City, and today we're visiting Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Greenpoint is a neighborhood that is near and dear to my heart. It's actually not far from where I live at all. It's walking distance. Not the most convenient of walks, right? You wouldn't just like pop over. However, it's not far. When you actually think about it, it's not far at all. I think in New York, when bridges connect things, you sort of tell yourself that it's all the way far away, but then when you actually set out to do the walk, you realize, no, it's just around the corner. So yeah, Greenpoint is a neighborhood that is near and dear to my heart. It's actually where my husband and I met several years ago, I think 16 years ago now. I lived there for quite a while when I was in my 20s, and the neighborhood has gone through lots and lots of change, for better and for worse. It's gentrified pretty rapidly. However, it does still retain its very Polish flavor, which I think you'll see when we sort of walk through today. It's a little bit tale of two cities in Greenpoint. You know, you have the people who've just moved in, what we used to fondly call the sort of the hipster demographic back then, the people who are the young 20-somethings who enjoy nightlife and restaurants and what have you. And then you have the people, the working class people who've been in that neighborhood for I don't know how long, for as long as I can remember. And there's it's a historically Polish neighborhood. And I don't mean it's just Polish in that there are a few Polish names. I mean it's very, very Polish. When I first moved to Greenpoint, our landlord did not want to rent us the apartment at all. He was looking for Polish tenants. The people who moved in on the first and second floor both had like a Polish person in the mix. So that is how Polish it used to be. But it changed even while we were living there. It was changing very, very quickly. I think being sort of the sister neighborhood to Williamsburg, which in all the time that I've lived in New York has been basically the poster boy for gentrification, you knew it was only a matter of time before Greenpoint went the same way. But Greenpoint used to be where you would move when you got priced out of Williamsburg. And then it became where people who wanted to buy a house, so they had kids, would move there because they would move there from Williamsburg because Greenpoint has a lot of townhouses. But now it's very much a destination in its own right in terms of restaurants and things like that. However, it sort of has two sides to it, and you can see it as you walk through. You walk through the trendier part of town, and then you turn a corner and you're in the extremely Polish part of town, which I love. There are grocery stores there with all the signage in Polish, and everybody who shops there is Polish. And these are some of the places where I used to shop when I was young and broke in New York, because honestly, they had the absolute best value on groceries. It was fantastic. So today, we'll take a walk down memory lane and we'll go to Greenpoint and find a plant shop, a coffee shop, and a bookstore. Now, when it comes to walking, I'm always choosing comfort over fashion, but that doesn't mean I can't have a nice cardigan from Rio as always. And yeah, I'm all set and ready to go walk over this bridge. I remember when I first started walking over bridges when I first moved to New York, it was like a little bit scary, but you just get used to it. It's actually really, really humid out here, but honestly, still worth it to walk before it gets super hot. I'm hoping to get lots and lots of steps in, 2 hours worth of walking ought to do it. The Pulaski Bridge joins Queens to Brooklyn, but is actually very, very short. It basically joins Long Island City to Greenpoint, and it's about maybe a 5-minute walk to cross this bridge, maybe 7 minutes if you're strolling, and you just come right off the end and we are in Greenpoint. Ta-da! Like I said, I chose comfort over fashion, and so I'm wearing running shoes because today we're walking, baby. We're walking. And the first stop is this garden center slash plant store that I have read about online. It is at the intersection of Eagle Street and Franklin here in Greenpoint. Here it is. It's called Tend. Now, I've never been to Tend, even though I have actually heard people talk about it quite a bit, but I was shocked by just how much flora there was out on the street in front of it. I don't know why I haven't gone in, considering that they have these many plants outside and just the cutest little storefront. I mean, look at this place. It's absolutely adorable. So charming. I'm a strong believer in an aesthetic plant shopping experience. Like, if I want to save money, I will buy my plants online as far as I'm concerned. When I go into a plant shop, aesthetics matter, and my goodness, this place did not disappoint. Not only do they have plants and this spectacular mural on the walls, they have a little bit of everything. Like, first of all, the plants are very beautifully cared for, so they obviously know what they're doing. But then they also just have all these cute little seed packets. They have these little pots for sale. They have books by planty authors, people that we all know about. They have really interesting curations of like little knickknacks, and the pots that they choose to stock in store are not just any old pots you can find anywhere else. Literally everything is chosen for a certain beautiful aesthetic vibe. I was actually blown away. I could have spent hours and hours in here. I will definitely be going back. And then to cap it off, they have the most spectacular garden slash courtyard out back. I mean, look at this place. It's just like a cornucopia of beauty. There is so much gorgeousness here. This is my idea of a garden center in an urban environment where there's not very much space, and so they've packed everything in tightly, but it's still just gorgeous and spectacular. They even had this beautiful hibiscus, which immediately made me think of one of my favorite YouTubers, the Millennial Plant Dad. He has the most gorgeous garden and he grows hibiscuses sometimes. This is just spectacular. I mean, just, I'm not usually so big on the flowers, but the way it's done here is just so tasteful. Look at that wheelbarrow. It's all just so cute and just, so very Brooklyn. Anybody who lives in Brooklyn will know what I mean. I mean, they had fresh herbs, they had native plants, there was a little bit of everything, and it just never felt overdone, It just felt exactly right. I know I'll definitely be back here in the future. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my videos, and leave me a comment and let me know what neighborhood in New York you'd like me to explore. Where should I go look at some plants, get a coffee, and shop for books, or maybe even clothes? Anyway, back to the video. I had no idea that Tend was such a fantastic place. I've walked by there many, many times and just thought, I actually don't think I realized there was a plant shop there. I think I'm always on the other side of the street. Everybody in that part of Brooklyn actually has lots and lots of plants. It's one of the things I like the most about it, right? People really do have an appreciation for greenery over there, and all the shops and boutiques and everything have lots and lots of houseplants. This, I think, actually is a sort of leftover from the shutdown in 2020, because it wasn't as prevalent before that. But I think people realized this is one of the easiest ways to make places look welcoming and inviting. So there was a ton of plants, and I think I just didn't realize there was a plant shop there. I don't know. Anyway, I knew there was a plant shop there, but I didn't realize it was going to be as good as it was. I just thought it was another overpriced, blah, blah, blah shop. But it was such a pleasant surprise. First of all, the staff in there are so nice. They're so kind. They let me just have a wander without actually buying anything. And the courtyard in the back was, it was divine. So I think it's definitely a place I'm going to be going back to. Now, I did make a purchase because I felt bad. I don't feel like I can go into a plant store without buying anything, but I bought something I want to show you. So I got this. Yep. It's It's a 3D printed planter. It's a conifer spruce planter. I'm guessing the name of the company that makes these is Conifer. I'm not sure. The shop owner told me that it was a Canadian company, but I don't remember the name. I think it's Conifer. I'll double check and put the name up on the screen. But look at this. This is one of the most beautiful things. They had them in all sizes, but I was trying to have some self-control in there and not buy too many. I also wanted to test it out to see how it fares in my space before kind of going back there and buying more. But it's 3D printed, and I'm not sure if it will show up on screen, but there's sort of there's like a disc in here, and apparently the drainage is built in, and when you water the plant, it just drains from here, which I can't picture what that would be like. I haven't tested it yet, but I'm gonna try it out and I'll let you know. But I think this is the most beautiful thing. I haven't really decided what plant to put in here. I do think, given how sculptural this is, it's such an architectural little beauty, I think the plant that goes in should be a little bit minimal so that the design of the pot gets to really pop and stand out. Maybe it might be a good one for maybe one of the Hoya. I'm not sure. I have to test out what the drainage is like. Maybe I should repot my Hoya linearis into this, actually. That could be good. Anyway, this is what I got from Tend. I think it's so cute, and I will definitely be going back there. Right, next up, the hunt for coffee. It was honestly so difficult to stay on task and not get distracted by all the lovely restaurants around, all the places that I typically love sitting down in. But, I only have 2 hours, so I'm going to stick to the program. The art cafe was closed, and Madre next door was open. They have one of my favorite happy hours, actually. $2 oysters, but yeah, I was disciplined and I stayed on task and just continued down Franklin in search of the perfect cup of coffee. I stopped at the corner of Franklin and Noble Street at Homecoming. Homecoming is a coffee shop that has been around in Greenpoint for a long time, and it's one of my favorite places to buy coffee. I really like the sort of combination of minimalism and plants and flowers. All the window displays look like sculptures, just really stunning artistry. I mean, look at this one. It's insanely beautiful. And that's not where it stops. You walk in and the shop is laid out kind of, sparingly, but there are plants, there are dried flowers, there are knickknacks, there are gifts. It's honestly almost easy to forget that you came in here to buy coffee. So yeah, I stopped looking at the beautiful flowers and got myself a latte, sat out back in another gorgeous, stunning courtyard, and honestly, all was right with the world. All was right with the world. The thing about Homecoming is I had such a nice time there, but I almost wish I had more than a couple of hours to spend, because it's such a beautiful store inside. You saw with the flowers and the plants and everything like that. It's gorgeous. But sitting out back there is really nice too. I think I would take my laptop there and just do some uninterrupted work. Just kind of sit there and power through. It's like a great little space for that. The only reason I don't do that is because, honestly, their coffee is so good. Now, I'm not trying to buy multiple cups of $8 coffee. So that's the only thing that stopped me from doing that. But Homecoming is a place I've loved for a long time. The other thing I really like about Homecoming is it's across the street from one of my son's favorite, bouncy, soft play type places. So I find it so convenient because we can walk down that way and I can have my husband take the kids in there to kind of, bounce all their beans out. And I get to sit in a gorgeous coffee shop and drink iced coffee or hot coffee and look at some flowers and some plants. And to me, no better way to spend some time. And now it's back on the road again to the other end of Greenpoint. And this is the more Polish side. But as you can see, even this part of town is not immune from the gentrification. Peter Pan Donuts has been in this neighborhood forever. And to have a Sweet Green right next to it feels weird. And we're at the corner of Nassau and McGuinness. One of my favorite places in town, right opposite this vintage store, is Leaves. Leaves is a second-hand bookshop that's a book lover's paradise. You can just tell that the owners of this store are completely passionate about books. It just feels like the type of place where you can lose yourself. Almost like a library but without the pressure. And of course, there's greenery everywhere. So it's incredibly inviting and comforting. This is the type of place I like to go after going to the bar, and my friends think I'm actually crazy. Like, who goes to a bookstore after going to a bar? But that's me for you. One thing I like about Leaves is you just never know what you're going to find. There are just books from all over, a little bit of everything, and it's almost like a window into what's going on in the world. This little segment always has Wole Soyinka's works, which I find kind of interesting and fun. And I don't know, I just feel like I learn something new every time I come and browse here. It's my happy place. Leaves. What a phenomenal, phenomenal shop. Back in the day, I used to live sort of just off of Nassau, which is the street where Leaves is. And it it would have been on my way home. I just can't think of anything better, really. I can almost picture myself just popping in there all the time to browse. I'm almost sad that I wasn't there when I used to live there because it's 100% my kind of shop. The closest thing to that is I used to go to the Strand in Union Square all the time and just be in their basement. They had like used books in the basement there, and I'd go in there and browse. But I think it's because that's such a heavily touristy and crowded location, it was actually a lot harder to find bargains and interesting reads in there, whereas here at Leaves was full of amazing books at very, very reasonable prices in phenomenal condition. And I don't know if that's just because people, I guess with Kindles and things, people don't buy hard copy books as much as they used to, which makes me kind of sad. But either way, it was just such a great experience being in there. I really had to exercise self-control. Promised myself I would not buy more than one book, and I ended up buying two. So let me show you what I got. I typically try to read as many African authors as I can. You know, my family is Nigerian, and, you know, it's important to me, I think, to just try to read, to support all the authors from the continent, because, you know, I think it is obviously a lot harder for them to gain traction across the world. And some of the most influential literary works of our time actually come from various African countries. So, you know, I whenever I get the chance to buy a book somewhere, if I see a couple I haven't read, I'm gonna get them. So there's a couple I got. This one, So Long a Letter by Mariama Ba. This is actually a classic, and it's one of those books that's like, ooh, you know, top 10 books from Africa, top 100 books from Africa. This is one of them, and I've been meaning to read it for the longest time, and I never have. So seeing it on the shelf in Leaves just felt like, it felt like I was supposed to buy it, really. So I got this one. And then they also had this one called Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo, who is a Nigerian author. And I mean, I think is she a diaspora? Is she British or American? Let's see. Doesn't say. I don't remember whether she's like based in the UK or based in the US. Probably. Either way, I've been wanting to read this for quite a long time, so I was also really glad to find this there, and I grabbed this one. I was only going to buy this one, but then I saw this one and couldn't resist. So these are the two books that I bought, but they had lots and lots of books there. So I'll be, hopefully I'll be going back when I work my way through some of the books on my to be read pile. Feel like my husband would be furious if he knew I bought more books, because I have piles and piles of books that I still haven't read. So self-control. What was also nice about Leaves though was the shopkeeper gave me she had these bookmarks, and she gave me the very last one of them. They are, and guess what? Let me show you this bookmark. What are the odds? Look! I'm sorry, but could it be any more on brand? Could it be any more on brand? What a beautiful, beautiful bookmark. It's like the most perfect drawing. What is it? It's a ficus tineke, basically. I think it's a ficus tineke. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, this is the bookmark of the store, right? So it's meant to be. Me and Leaves we're meant to be. Anyway, I had such a good time on this walk, and coming back home, I was thinking to myself how connected I felt with my city. Because when you're just living day-to-day life in New York, hustling, going from work to taking kids to extracurricular activities to looking after all the plants and just looking after the house and I don't know, just life, it's so easy to forget what a vibrant and incredible city this is, and just how much there is to see, but also what a great place it is for just kind of wandering around and discovering new places. So I will be doing more of that. If you want to see me do some more soft walks throughout New York City, subscribe so you don't miss them. Leave me a comment and let me know where else I should go on a walk in the city. And, till next time, I'll see you.